Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Scurv podcast. And I try to think on a deeper level to kind of unravel things that I'm not going to say I'm confused about it. It's just things that are always hanging on your head. And we all had this thought at some particular point in our lives, working in the system. Why are you working hard, but you're staying broke? Well, we all thought that. You know, on these jobs in America that I'm talking about, because that's my experience, the bottom line is that you give more than what you get, but they fool you and make you feel as though you keep pushing and you'll get ahead. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Again, this might not be an all-nighter, but I have to post up before the day is off. So we're going to start out like this. You've been lied to, not by mistake, not by accident, but by design. From the moment you were old enough to understand the world, they handed you a simple formula. What a lie, right? Work hard, stay focused, be disciplined, and success will follow. It sounded fair. It sounded honest. And most importantly, it sounded possible. So guess what? You believed it. Everybody else said this to you from the moment you were born. You went to school, followed instructions, stayed out of trouble, hopefully, and did everything you were told would bring results. You sacrificed time, energy, and peace of mind. You showed up early and stayed late. You gave your best years to a system that promised to reward you for it. But then something didn't sit right. You started noticing people who didn't seem as dedicated as you moving ahead faster. You saw people with less effort getting more reward. You watched others win in ways that didn't match the rules you were taught. And deep down, something inside you started asking questions you couldn't fully answer. That quiet frustration you feel, that lingering exhaustion that no amount of rest fixes. That's not failure. That's awareness knocking at your door. See, it's the equation they never gave you. The truth is simple, but it cuts deep. The equation you were taught was incomplete. It was never just skill plus effort equals success. The real equation is skill plus effort multiplied by position. And if your position is zero, it doesn't matter how hard you work. 0 times anything is always 0. Let that sink in. You can be talented. You can be disciplined. You can give everything you've got. But if you don't control where your value flows, you will always come up short. Not because you're not good enough, but because you're playing in a system designed to keep you producing, not owning. This is what I call the zero position trap. You're working at full capacity inside a structure built to extract your value and send it upward. You feel productive, you feel useful, but at the end of the day, the biggest rewards don't land in your hands. They pass through you. It's a matter of owning nothing while building everything. And let me speak from experience. I've worked in that system. for many, many years. I've given my time, my energy, my creativity, and my loyalty. And what I've learned is this: the system doesn't reward effort the way it claims to. The secret is that it rewards control. And if you don't own the pipeline, you don't control the outcome. You can pour your life into something and still walk away with crumbs compared to those who own the structure you're working inside. And here's the cold truth most people never want to accept: the praise you receive for your hard work is often not a reward. It's a straight up leash. It's there to keep you right where you are, producing value for someone else's benefit. There comes a point where you have to stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like a builder. A worker focuses on doing the job. A builder focuses on owning the system that creates the job. That's a completely different mindset. When you operate as a worker, your income is tied to your time. If you stop, the money stops. But when you operate as a builder, your income is tied to position. The system continues to produce even when you step away. Ask yourself honestly, are you the one doing the work? Or are you positioned where the work flows through you? Because that answer will tell you everything about your future. Money doesn't flow to effort. It flows to control. It flows to whoever owns the gate, the platform, the system, the bottleneck. The people at the top aren't always the smartest or the hardest working. They're simply positioned where everything passes through them. That's why you can grind for years and still feel stuck, while someone else makes one strategic move and changes their entire life. It's not luck, it's placement. If you want to change your life, you don't just need to improve your skills, you need to change your position. Now let's get real about what you can do. First, you need leverage. And leverage doesn't come from working harder. It comes from having options. If you depend on one job, one paycheck, one source of income, you are controlled. You may not feel it every day, but the system knows it, and it uses that against you. When you build multiple streams, multiple skills, and multiple connections, something shifts. You're no longer desperate. And the moment desperation leaves, power enters. Second, you need to find the overlooked spaces. Everybody is chasing the same visible opportunities. That's where competition is highest and power is weakest. But there are areas in every industry that people ignore. They're not flashy, they're not exciting, but they're essential. And when you position yourself there, you become hard to replace. That's where real value lives. Most people rush. They chase every opportunity, every trend, every new thing that looks like a shortcut to success. But the truth is, timing matters just as much as effort. You can make the right move at the wrong time and still lose. But when you prepare quietly and move at the right moment, everything changes. You don't need to run faster. You need to move smarter. You see, there's power in patience, not lazy waiting, but strategic positioning, watching, learning, building, and then striking when the opportunity is real. That's how you stop reacting to life and start controlling it. Let's talk about people. Most folks think relationships are about transactions. You do something for me, I do something for you. But real influence doesn't work like that. When you help people without immediate expectation, you create something deeper. You build trust, you build memory, you build connection. And over time, that becomes power. Because people don't forget who helped them rise. They don't forget who opened the door when they had none. And when you build enough of these connections, doors start opening for you without you even asking. That's not luck. That's strategy. At the end of the day, you have to protect yourself. A single job is not security. A good boss is not security. A steady paycheck is not security. True security comes from control. Control over your time, your income, and your options. When one stream dries up, you should have another. When one door closes, you should already be walking toward the next. That's how you stay ahead in a system designed to keep you dependent. The system was never built to make you free. It was built to make you useful for somebody else's purpose. And if you don't understand that, you'll spend your entire life giving your best to something that will never fully give back to you. But hopefully now you see it. You understand the game. You understand the equation. You understand that effort alone is not enough. So the real question is simple. What are you going to do differently tomorrow? Because knowledge without action is just frustration dressed up as wisdom. You don't need to work harder. You need to move smarter. You don't need to beg for opportunity. You need to position yourself where the opportunity flows. You don't need permission. You need strategy. And once you understand that, everything changes. When you think about those words, it's the absolute truth. Because many years I've worked on different jobs and seen favoritism, people who are shrewdly positioning themselves without the favoritism, people who position themselves and they never broke a sweat. People say that's manipulation, but that's playing the game. Because if you don't play the game and position yourself properly, you'll be like this man on the banner in the ditch, working hard. There's a couple of dollars next to his lunchbox, but look who's counting the real money and driving the real luxury cars. Even if that's not your goal, to roll out big and show out, I wouldn't suggest that. If anything, I would suggest the opposite. It's not about showing out. And I also have to say, it's not about living somebody else's version of success. That's a surefire way to find yourself in a sorry state of affairs. You do what makes you happy. You do what keeps you content. That's what you do. And a lot of us have to go through different phases in our life where we can shake off this pressure to keep up with the Joneses. I myself, I have to say I was never one to follow trends like that. I was never one to see somebody with something or a certain positioning or a certain status and want to run toward that. I've always been blessed to be my own thinker without the outside influences. And I guess it pissed a lot of people off because they couldn't get me caught up in their game. And there are people out here who like that. They'll mislead you. On these jobs, you have supervisors who will mislead you. They may see you as a threat. They may have more control over that system and don't want you to take their position. See, for me, and this is something my father always told me, always have more than one income. Always have a steady stream of things, several things if you can. They all don't have to be doing super good, but they're all adding up. And they fluctuate. The one that was doing slower might pick up. You want them all to do good, but have something that when you put your effort into it, the effort is for you. On the job, it's going to flow through you and benefit someone else. And I'm not saying don't work your job, but don't get so emotionally tied up to it. Like when I worked at the bus company, and I knew that I was going to go and come to Ghana for the first time. And I had a lot of time on the books. I had a great driving record. The accidents that happened with me weren't my fault. I didn't have any write-ups or altercations with passengers. I knew how to play that game. So this was actually August 25th, 2019 is when I purchased my ticket to come to Ghana. And I knew I was going to get the time. But several weeks before, when I put in for it, they knocked me down. They said, no, you can't have this. I said, wait a second. This is my right to get these weeks off. And they came up with an excuse. And I said, listen, this is something that I have to do. I didn't tell them my business. I didn't tell them what I was doing. But there was some political spite work because people knew how I stood because of the content that they secretly followed on social media that I put out. So they're like, okay, we're going to get him. So it got closer and closer to April 25th, 2019. And now this was the night of April 19th, 6 days before I'm supposed to fly out. I said, okay. I went up there to the job and arranged a time when I can speak to someone who was higher up in admin that we can sit down and talk. And I had the time with this gentleman. He also had several other people who were admin. They wanted to see what I was going to say. They knew how I stood. They knew I was coming with something. So I went in there in full African garb. I mean, I had a nice outfit on, head to toe, the hat included. And they're looking at me strange. And so I went and sat down. They shook my hands. The one black man who was in charge of our meeting and about 4 or 5 white men to my side. And they're standing looking down at me like, we know this guy, we follow him, but we can't let him know that we watch all his stuff. Basically, they couldn't stand me. The black man was nervous, not of me or scared of me, but he didn't want to be put in a position that he had to respond in a way in front of his so-called superiors. I'm not calling them superiors, but they were higher up in the hierarchy. So he wanted to know what it is that I wanted to speak about. And I looked at him and I told him, just the way when they fire you from their jobs, and they really want to fire you, but they try to soften it up and make it nice. And I told him, I said, I said, all of the years that I work for this company, it has been a very enlightening and enjoyable experience for me. I met many wonderful people out in the street driving the bus, many wonderful people who are employed here like me. It almost feels like it's family. But there comes a time when we evolve, when we grow, when we move on to different things. And unfortunately, and I looked the black man in the eye and I looked at the other white men, I said, all good things must come to an end. And I said, I'm very sorry about this. And it hurts me dearly, but I'm going to have to let you go. The looks on their faces, the shock, the fact that they weren't in control. Then here I am, dressed the way I am, looking them in the eye, and they're standing over me, not as though there were not enough chairs there, but they wanted to intimidate me somehow. They didn't know what I was coming with. So the black man, the admin guy, I forgot his name, he almost sounded like Ralph Cramden on The Honeymooners. Hamada, 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 hamada. He didn't have an answer. I said, let's make this quick. Whatever paperwork I need to fill out, I can do it now. Because next week, I have a whole lot of things that I have to do, and I have to free up my time. So you're not going to give me my time that I deserve. I'm going to beg for the time that I work for? I'm going to beg for the time that I work for? You think I'm going to sit here, please? This is important to me. And they sit up and feel powerful. No. I pulled the rug from under their feet. How dare you? And they lined up. What did they expect? Something violent from me? They wanted to have extra witnesses there? It was like they were castrated now. And I had a smirk on my face, a righteous smirk. Now they started to try to implant doubt in my head, fear. Well, Mr. Scurvin, you're leaving. What are you going to do? I said, continue living and enjoying life like I've been doing. No, but what are you going to do for money? I said, that's worked out already. You don't have to worry about that. Now, they wanted to ask me about my prior request for time, but now I went over their head and I empowered myself. And I'm not going to say I was set with this huge amount of money, but I had my plans and I knew what I was going to do. Right? So they got the paperwork and it was an uncomfortable silence there. I was sitting there pleasant, but I was empowered and they didn't like it. So they tried to throw compliments at me. Well, I have to say that, you're a very good driver and we never had any complaints with you. And it really would be nice to, have you stay a little longer. And I said, I'd love to. I'd love to help you out. But I can't. I'm sorry. So after I finished filling out the paperwork, and they're still asking me, are you sure? I said, well, that was decided long ago. And also with the refusal of me having my time to do what I wanted to do, that decision was made because nobody dictates my time. Nobody dictates my life. And they didn't like it. So after everything was filled out, they said, okay, Mr. Scurvin, you could always come back. And, I said, well, my vehicle doesn't have reverse in it. It's just one that moves forward. I shook all their hands. I was empowered. I said, I'm quite sure you're going to have a wonderful day because I know I'm going to have a wonderful life now. It's been nice working with you. I wish you all the best. And I swear, as I walked away down the hall, I kind of glanced at the corner of my eye. They were all looking at me walk away. And I swear, in the back of my head, I heard the theme from Shaft and walked out of the joint. And I know all of them were following my first trip out to Ghana. And I know after that, when we moved out here, a lot of people just stopped talking to me because I ran away or walked away with dignity from the plantation. Start something of your own, whatever it may be. If you bake cookies, if you bake cakes good, bake them and sell them out of your kitchen. If you do hair good, get a client or two or a relative or somebody around the corner, even if you start with one, and put that money away. Keep some, save some, invest some. It's an energy thing. It's not about just the money. It's your energy and your positivity and the way you position yourself. Because when I came out here, I looked over at this property. I said, that's where I'm going to live. All the bushes and trees that had to be cut down, I said, that's where I'm going to live. And here I am now. There were bugs, there were snakes, there were little bushes, big trees, ant hills, everything. But if you don't have a vision and it's in your mind that somebody else holds your destiny and they're in control, well, you gave up the right. Because the person who holds the wheel in the car, you can tell them you want to go here and there all you want, but it's up to them to go and take that vehicle where they want. Now, if they're nice, they might take you. But being on these jobs is not nice. And I'm not telling you to walk away from your job. It was time for me because that was in my heart for a number of years. Many years in the system. So if you can start with something and also understand that it's not how much you make, it's how much you don't spend. So for me, many years ago, I decided to shave off all my hair. I was going to the barbershop too much. I decided to cut out certain foods, cut out certain trips to the restaurant, unless I was traveling. I decided to make it a habit to pull back on certain things. There were certain things that were essential. Like for me now, I have my internet and I pay for that. I got to keep the lights on. I got to do certain things. But if you reduce your overhead, you're really unshackling the power of the chains that are around your wrists and your ankles to set you free, believe it or not. And the very thing we need to take control over as far as our money is the things we do. Because a lot of us do things in the spirit of escapism. Well, I worked hard all this week and I deserve to go to that restaurant and get that meal. Get the same ingredients. Slip the cook or the chef a few dollars and say, hey, listen, give me the recipe for that. I need to know. Even if you lie and say you're traveling for a while, but I want to taste that same food. And you cook it yourself. Take time. Play a little music. You like to be on the phone to talk to your friends? Get your Bluetooth going on and while you cook. Change up your rhythm. Too many of us are walking in a ready-made lane that somebody else created for us to keep us moving the way they want us to move. And that's not good. That's not good at all. Welcome, Sister Queen Diane, Landon Price. Yes, indeed. Lee, yes, Scurv on the scene. I'm glad you're here. And I'm going to record some more things tonight. I'm not going to stay long. I've been doing a whole lot more other things, but I said I'm going to keep these lives coming and sit down and relax and we chit chat. Because life is short, and whatever it is that you're going to do, you got to do it now. And when I say it's short, I don't mean to scare you. But most of us in this life, we have the present moment. And the present is fleeting. When I first hit the button and went live, that moment's gone. That was 28 minutes and 46 seconds ago. It's gone. We have this present, but that's all we have. We can think about the future and we plan for it and we kind of point the direction that we're going in, but we can't obsess about it because those plans are flexible and things can happen to change those plans. The past is the worst thing. It could be good if you still learn from it, but it's a bad thing because many people, that's all they think about. And I don't mean reminiscing and pleasant memories. Those things are good. But things that have happened that you can't change, things that may be embarrassing that you can't change, things that hurt you that you can't change, let it go. Do you fill up your garbage can with garbage? And when the garbage man comes, you say, no, please don't take my garbage. I'm not saying your past is garbage, but keep the good parts as far as your memories and things that motivate you, things that you can draw from to help you in the future, and discard of the rest. Right? You eat the watermelon, you get rid of the rind or most of it. You eat the orange and you get rid of the peelings unless you want to save it to dry up and make some type of room freshener. What do they call it again? Potpourri, if that's the right word. But if we can constantly shed our skin, so to say, the mental skin, the things that control how we move. And I have to constantly do that myself because I have a lot of memories. I dream and have dreams. I still dream as though I'm in New York City. I don't really dream about Orlando, Florida, but New York City is my root, and I only hold on to the good stuff. I'm here right now, and I want to dream as though I'm here. So that's my struggle, but I'm not stuck in the past. In everything you do, you have to ask yourself, how is it affecting my future? And what is this doing for me? I don't care if it's only a candy bar you want to buy and eat. Ask yourself that. And you might get it. And if you make your mind up to eat it, don't feel guilty about it. Don't do something that you want to do and feel guilty while you're doing it. Get into it. Taste it. Know what it tastes like. Maybe it'll make it where you have a reduced desire for it. So you can't also be too strict with yourself. I'm not, and I'll never be, but I'll make the best decisions and I try to put myself in a position of control, not like a control freak. You can't be rigid that way. You'll break yourself, right? You have people out here who want to control other people. They want to control you. That's not good. But the control you have over yourself, let it happen naturally. Don't get so rigid where you make a plan and you have to follow it every single day. And the minute you're off one day, you abandon the plan. Be flexible. Be flexible. And allot yourself time for that. Allot yourself time to say, you know what? I've been good on my plan, whatever it may be, financial, exercise, whatever. But today, I just want to lay in the bed. I was supposed to clean up and sweep and mop. You know what? I'm not doing that today. I want to go out and lay in the sun. Afford yourself that because that'll make you come back stronger. Or you say, you know what? I'm leaving my cell phone home. I'm going to the beach if you live close to a beach or a lake or a body of water or just a park. And don't feel bad about it. The worst thing is to be indulging in something you want to do, and while you're doing it, you're feeling guilty. No, go all the way in. Taste it, enjoy it, love it, celebrate it, because that will ease up yourself for the next round, like a boxing match. The fighters don't fight straight through. They fight for 3 minutes, and they take 1 minute rest to recoup, to regroup, and to refocus and say, okay, this is what we did last round, but it's not too good for us if we keep fighting this way. We need to make adjustments. You can't make a plan and stick on it from where you started, because down the road that you anticipated might be a little different than what you planned. So what are you going to do? If they have a roadblock on the road that you said you were going to go down to travel, and you're not flexible enough in your mind to say there's a roadblock, I need to find an alternative route. What you going to do? Drive straight through the divider there, the police barrier, and keep going through? Now you got problems. And sometimes to be detoured off of your plan is a good thing. Why? Because that's where sometimes you discover things that you need that you never knew were there. I've said this before. I remember being on the highway in New York, up in, I think it was New Rochelle, above the Bronx. And I knew that area as far as the major roads were concerned, and I had a few friends up there, and there was a gathering, there was a function going up that I was invited to. But the exit that I was supposed to get off on was blocked for some reason. So I panicked, not panicked like I was having a meltdown, but just like it's uncomfortable. Like, oh man, now how am I going to get to this place? Because the exits were far apart. So I got off at the next exit. And when I got off at the next exit, I kind of knew to come back this way, and I zigzagged my way back. Back then, we didn't have the GPS. But in coming from that next exit, I discovered different stores, different shops. There was a bicycle shop where they repaired high-end bicycles. I had a pretty nice bicycle back then. There's a sushi joint up there. There was a gym that I saw. I was like, man, I'm not going to go to these places right now, but if I didn't miss that exit, I wouldn't have found these places here. So sometimes you plan certain things in life. It might be a wedding that you planned and it didn't work out. And maybe you avoided disaster. And maybe by that wedding not working out, or that engagement not working out, eventually, whether it's years or months, you found the one who you're supposed to be with. That's a better option. So you got to roll with it. Even when you're a fighter in the ring and you're the best fighter in the world, you're going to come out sometime looking like the loser because you have an eye that's closed, a nose that's busted, your lip is bleeding, but you won the fight. So it's not always going to go the way you plan, but the main thing is to have a way where you increase your options. It's such a nice feeling to set something up, no matter how small you earn. You say, you know what? I got this job. It takes care of this base level of my bills, but I made this and nobody knows about it. This is why they want to have the whole digital system with our money so they can watch every single thing. The only way to beat that is to barter on trust. I'll do this for you and you do this for me, right? You want one of those mangoes I have growing in the backyard? I need you to do my yard and you can take X amount and get away from the system, right? Control your own destiny. And this is why a lot of us are wilding out or feeling the feelings of desperation, because we know that we're not in control. We've been taught to just get a job, but look at AI coming in to take people's jobs. And there's a mad scramble now. It's like musical chairs. When the music goes off and you got to sit down, everybody's not going to have a seat. Because if you got 15 people walking around 13 chairs and the music goes off and you got to sit down, there's going to be 2 people standing that have to be eliminated because they didn't have a chair. Well, in this game of musical chairs, guess what? I'll play the game, but I got my own chair in my arm. So when we sit down, I'm sitting down in my own chair, your own independent source of income. You can't whip that. And being methodical about it, not panicking, because year after year goes by and things morph. And the worst feeling is to be working while broke. And I've been there. Things have happened, circumstances like, whoa, I'm glad I had a little bit saved, but I'm broke now. Who wants to have to build up again and have that fear where I can't get sick, I can't miss any days, and a daggone sure can't get fired? So now you feel pressure because you have a supervisor on your job that you know doesn't like you or has it out for you, or it's a personality conflict. You do good work, but you have somebody there who has their own agenda for you. When I drove the bus, there was a supervisor who had it for me so bad. I don't know what it was. And I told him off in a way where he couldn't do anything to me. But I got him real good one day. The harassment, the micromanaging, all of that. I got him. He stayed away from me too. And I insulted him in a coy way. I had my words prepared. And every time he saw me, he just couldn't do anything. So that's why it was good for me to walk away empowered. And I know so many who work there who are still there. They're going to see this video and they're going to laugh. Some of them are going to be mad. It's okay. Life goes on. You control your life. I control mine. If you don't want to control your life, trust and believe I didn't do it to you. These rules and these laws and these ideologies are out there for everybody to partake in. And again, you can start small and take your time and build it up. But the main thing you do, keep quiet about it. Don't speak out your plans to everybody because everybody smiling with you may not be in your corner. Keep quiet about it. Let that be your own private victory, because when you start things out, it's the easiest to kill it if you put your energy out there. I'm going to do this. And this is what now you may have your close, super, super inner circle or your loved one or whatever. And even sometimes you don't even know that so-called loved one that you lay in the bed next to, they might be a secret hater who plans on not being in your life for long. Certain things you have to keep quiet. Let it catch, right? It's like trying to set a fire to burn something in your yard on a windy day. You wanna cup that flame as you put that match to the paper or debris that you're looking to burn. You can't let the flame be exposed to the wind. It's gonna blow the match out, right? So take your time. Anyway, I'm glad to be here. I'm gonna move on. I have something that I did record. I'm gonna put it up. You'll see it soon. And I'll be back tomorrow for sure. And I may be back later with something else that I record. I just want to watch my time and go with the flow and let these downloads hit me really nice. All I want to say is, like Sister Diane always says, and I say, on to the next one. Much love, LanceScurv out. Peace and much love. Let me put on my song here. We're going to do that.
Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition, stripped of our names, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion? Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years that we're living, for us there's nothing but hell, pain, torture, and misgiving. Yet the Bible speaks of a heaven filled with material luxury, which the white man and the preacher has right here, so we see. So my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth. So let's check back into history, which rewards all research and tells us plainly. Before the white man gained entry to the East, he was living in the caves of Europe, a ravenous beast, eating juniper roots and eating flesh raw, till God sent Moses to civilize him and teach him the law. Then, following Marco Polo, an explorer, he gained entry into Asia and Africa. From China he took silk and gunpowder. From India he took jute, manganese, and rubber. He raped Africa of her diamonds and her gold. From the Mideast he took barrels of oil untold. Raping, robbing, and murdering everything in his path, the whole black world has tasted of the white man's wrath. So my friend, it's not hard to tell, a white man's heaven is a black man's hell. Came to America, we were living in the East. By the Nile River, we were living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. We wore silken robes and slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is black man hell. When the white man came to America, he told the Indian, I am your white brother. He said, red man, I'll treat you the best. Yet and still he pushed the Indian further west with his white woman and firewater. With tricks and lies he stole America. The original owner of this nation is cooped up on a reservation. So my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is black man hell. He needed someone to work the land. His back was too weak. He needed you, black man, so he commissioned Sir John Hawkins to commit the world's most grievous sin, to take a man who's born to be free and bring him down to slavery, to sell a man as merchandise. On his body put a price. Oh, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is black man hell.